This is Electric Universe Geology Earth News. Today we're going to talk about round mountains, or what I think are round mountains. There's certainly disagreement concerning this. Right now we're looking at Meteor Crater. Some people think it was an impact crater. They were looking for the impactor for many years, trying to find it for its minerals. The EU version seems to be there seems to be a consensus that there was a thunderbolt that pulled this up, removed the center, and pulled up the rim. Same with Mars, same with the Moon. Electric giant thunderbolts pulled things up, and that might be the case. I've seen experiments. I've had friends who have done experiments where things seem to have been pulled up. So it's an option. It's certainly a possibility. But it's not what I think happened. I think that the key to everything is reading worlds in collision. While these events were taking place, there was a monstrous comet in the neighborhood. Venus with a tail. And then later a plasmasphere full of dust. That would have done something. If there was a thunderbolt, there's a good chance it's going to be attracting the dusty plasma that makes up the dust. It's not just dust, it's ionic. There's ions. That means that the electromagnetic event is going to attract this dust in ways that are inconceivable to people who are not familiar with electromagnetism. And it's going to be sorting the material. Let me zoom out to give this some perspective. We're in Arizona. This is by the Mogollon Rim. Here's the crater still. Here's the Mogollon Rim. This guy along here. Let's see. Yeah, this is it here. So these layers are all that surround this area are the same layers as the crater. The crater is just pulled up layers that surround it for many, many miles in all directions. I think there was probably water down here preventing accumulation, but here it was dry at one point. And this electric event pulled in material covering the entire area, possibly removing a little bit of the central crater of Meteor Crater, which is not from a meteor, I don't think, and concentrating the material on the rim. The material being sucked towards the center, so windward, for all intents and purposes, is on the outside of the crater. Leeward is on the inside. So you get a cliff on the inside, and you get a water ski ramp on the outside. And this isn't the only place it happened, I don't think. So this is a process of addition, not subtraction. It's real different. Maybe we should look at Mars, even though this is supposedly Earth news. Let's take a flyer here. So here we have Mars, Valles Marineris. I don't think this was ripped out. Billy Elverton's doing experiments, and he's able to make really similar formations with a galaxy shape, with an arc and an arc on the other side coming this way. And he's not ripping out a canyon. The canyon's never there. The material builds on either side of an area that never was deposited. It was always empty. It wasn't ripped out. It was empty during its creation. I think that's the case here. This side did not grow as much. You can see the size of the elevation, the amount of elevation. If you go to Google Mars, you'll see it, and it'll give you an idea for what's going on here. But anyway, back to the craters. Here we have these craters, and it's much greater elevation than it is where there aren't craters. My position is that these craters are caused by thunderbolts, but it's not pulling material up from below. It's pulling material in from without from outside, and it's creating a round mountain. Windward on the outside, leeward on the inside, creating a higher surface. Where you have more thunderbolts, you have a greater elevation. Where you have fewer thunderbolts, like the North Pole area, you have fewer. Let's look at the North Pole area. So here's a crater in the northern regions of Mars. I think all this material was pulled in. I don't think it was pulled up. And here is leeward, just like all the other mountains with leeward. And on the outside is windward. It's the water ski ramp and a cliff. It's the same as all the other mountains. But these mountains are round because there was a thunderbolt while there was dust in the air. There might have been some scavenging from the ground, pulling material in. But while Mars was being zapped, Venus was in the neighborhood, according to Homer, 4 times. And at least on one occasion, Venus was probably extremely cometary, with a huge tail full of dusty plasma. Let's look at the moon now. I'm going to have links for these images underneath as usual, so please look at them. I'll have ones for the Mars images. This one's the moon. Just try to imagine this. Windward on the outside, leeward on the inside. And there's double rings like this, which make more sense as a process of addition than anything else, I believe. We'll look at a few more, and then we'll be done with this. Here's Mercury with a double crater, and all these other craters. I think it's much more logical when you read eyewitness accounts of all of these different bodies doing battle, including Mercury. It's one of the players in this drama that took place within the last 10,000 years or so. But yes, I think this is material being pulled in. I think this is leeward, windward. Same here. I think that craters are round mountains. And I don't think there's a lot of other people with this position. They're probably way too intelligent to take that stance. So, we'll visit this again, but it's a different way of looking at it. It's a process of addition, not subtraction. There's dust in the air. You can't just keep pulling things up to increase the surface of something. It kind of falls apart. But if you pull things down and electroplate them, when there's a gigantic arc discharge, God knows how far these things are apart, but they're big, then you have this ability to electroplate, creating round mountains. Thank you.